Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody who has joined. Thank you so much for being here with us today on another session of We Connect Academy Learning from Women Leaders Around the World series. My name is Andrea, and today I am very happy to introduce Maxine. She is an executive coach, consultant, and a speaker passionate about helping women end the struggle to find work life balance. She has over 2 decades of experience helping people accomplish radical growth and transformation, and that's what we're going to talk about today. She holds an MBA from Cambridge University and acquired over 15 years of experience in the financial service industry. Currently, she is the CEO of The Future is Greater, a certified company which provides professional services including coaching, training, and consulting. I'll let Maxine introduce herself, but I would like to remind everybody that you are muted. That means that you're in listen only mode, so you cannot speak. So if you have any questions, please find the Q&A or chat boxes and type those questions down because we will read them out loud at the end of the webinar. If you experience any trouble, please also let me know through the chat or Q&A boxes, and I'll make sure to help you out. This is a one chance opportunity, so please, we encourage you to do as many questions as possible. I would like just to remind everybody that you are in listen only mode and that this webinar is being recorded and will be shared tomorrow. Thank you, Maxine, for being here with us today. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. And ladies, I am beyond excited to be here with you today. Thank you, Andrea, We Connect Academy, for this amazing opportunity to really present on this topic I'm super passionate about, which is basically how to have both a thriving business, stroke career, and family life. And just so you know, I'll use business and career interchangeably, but the same principles really apply to you, whether you work for yourself or you work for someone else. So please think about what makes sense for you as we go through. I'm so glad you are here because, this is something, like I said, is one of my favorite topics, and I love to help women get breakthroughs in this area. So if a breakthrough, some new ideas, some new ahas are what you're looking for, then you're absolutely in the right place. Thank you for being here live, those who are here. And if you're catching this on the replay, thank you too. Our time is so precious. So I appreciate you choosing to spend it with us here today. So here's how, before we jump in, to get the most out of this webinar and really make your precious time incredibly well spent. I've been doing this for many years now, and I've found that the ladies that tend to get the most out of such trainings and the biggest transformations after the trainings are those who are undistracted, basically, fully engaged with the content so they can get the most out of it and ask relevant questions specific to their situations at the right time. So basically, like with everything, you get what you put in. So please give yourself the gift, give all of us the gift of your undistracted participation, down all the tabs and notifications, all of that stuff that comes at us nonstop all day. It's going to help your internet bandwidth with this webinar, and also grab a pen and paper or whatever note-taking device you like to use. To ensure that we're going to keep within the allocated time of an hour, I'm going to go through this presentation and all the content I've prepared for you without monitoring the chat, so that we definitely have enough time for Q&A for specific questions. Because my intention is that anybody who has a question should get it answered, so we all leave with some new idea, some aha, or something that will make a difference in your life. That said, though, as Andrea said, please do use the chat. She'll be monitoring it, so if you have any sound issues or whatever, feel free to write them there. As questions come up, put them in the Q&A section. We'll tackle them at the end. And I'll go back and read the chat afterwards as well, because I always love to see the comments. But I won't be monitoring them as we go through. And as we're getting started, feel free, if you want, to kind of jump in there and let us know your name and where you're joining from initially. That's always nice for me to see afterwards. And also, feel free to note down any ahas or takeaways or breakthroughs that you're getting, because as you read each other's takeaways, it will really be in service to yourself and everybody else, because that really cements the learning for you, and other people will actually learn from what you're learning. So feel free to use that chat in that way. So let's get started then. As you're jumping in there and letting us know your name and where you're joining from, I'll share mine. So I'm Maxine Nwaneri, as Andrea shared. I am the founder and CEO of The Future is Greater. And I'm based in London, not too far from Chiswick, if you're familiar with London. We just moved here and we absolutely love it. So let's jump into the topic. How can you have both a thriving career and family life? Is it even possible to have both? I get that question literally all the time from women I work with, women I meet. They also wonder things like, am I doing this right? I feel so guilty sometimes when I'm working and I'm away from my family. But when I'm with my family, maybe I'm missing out on all the other things I should be doing and the things that everybody else seems to be doing. Can I ever win? Or do I have to kind of sacrifice my career if I want to have a family? Or vice versa, actually. There's people that wonder and ask me, will my family and my personal life be what gets sacrificed if I want to have a successful and fulfilling career? You may have wondered like them, am I being too ambitious? Maybe I'm being even selfish to want a particular goal in my career for myself or in my life. Maybe I need to scale back. Or maybe I'm even okay where I am right now. And maybe I should be content, because if I really do what I'm dreaming about career-wise, I'm never going to get the chance to see my family. Then there's other people who are just so absorbed in the family stuff that they've forgotten all about themselves, their own dreams, their own lives. Can you relate to any of that? Feeling like you can't have both? Wondering, do I have to sacrifice one? I know I certainly have. But when women ask me especially, do I have to sacrifice one or the other? I say absolutely not. You can have both. I believe women like you and me, women like us, we're powerful enough to create whatever it is we want. That anything we desire is possible. And I learned this truth in the most unlikely place. It was in a dark, stinky apartment in Soho here in London, actually, almost 20 years ago. My story started in this very dark place. As I stood face to face with a pimp who was basically looking to hire prostitutes into his company, if you want to call it that. Let me share with you a little bit about this story, if you've never met me before. So I was homeless, a dropout, an addict, basically down to my last few pounds. Now, if you're not in the UK, that's the currency we spend here. Down to my last few pounds when a friend of mine suggested we go meet this man to interview for a job. So we walked into his little dingy apartment and the awful smell just hit me as I walked in. About the same time, about the shock of, oh my God, what am I getting myself into, hit me. So I froze on the spot and I began to panic, shaking, literally shaking, thinking, how did I end up here? My parents took me to church growing up. I mean, I actually wanted to be a doctor growing up. Like, how in the world do I go from that to ending up here? I felt so terrified, so ashamed, and so alone. And I shrank into myself, just basically wanting to disappear, when he basically snapped me out of it by asking, you do know how much you're supposed to charge, right? Oh my goodness, I hadn't even thought about that. I had no clue. So I just shook my head, petrified, no sound coming out of my mouth. I could see this guy was losing his patience. Literally, his head felt like it looked like it was just going to blow up. He was so furious. And it even made me feel more terrified, not really sure what to do. All I could do was think things like, oh my God, what's he going to do? How can I get out of this? I just can't do this. And it was like he was reading my mind, because when I had that last thought, I just can't do this, he looked at me with disgust and basically said, what choice do people like you have anyway? And that was like a slap in the face, because he was right. I was such a mess. I had screwed up everything in my life. I had let down every single person who cared about me. So I just stood there, not really sure what to do, where to look, what to think. In fact, I just kept thinking things like, oh my God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? How can this be my life? How can this be my only choice? Just then, I heard a voice within me say, this is not who you're meant to be. You're meant for so much more. I had no idea who or what that voice was, but I wanted so bad for that voice to be true, I chose to believe it. It gave me the courage I needed to turn and run out of that place into the freezing, dark, empty Soho street. Tell you what, cold air had never, ever felt so good. I had no money, no plans, just a knowing that I was meant for more. And I was. with the help of God and a string of miracles we don't have the time to get into today, I got back into the school system. I dropped out, and I gradually began to break free of all the addictions and the crazy stuff I had made normal in my life. I went on to graduate at the top of my class at the University of Wales, then went on to the University of Cambridge to study for my MBA, where I represented the class around the world as the vice president. This basically helped catapult my international career, in which I was recognized as one of the top 30 under the age of 40 in my industry. I met and married the love of my life, Nnamdi, and I had our daughter Chiamaka nearly 5 years ago, and our son Nnamdi in July. We feel super, super blessed. I say all of that to say I've seen the impossible become possible in my life as a result of saying yes to the desires within me when nothing in the physical said it made sense. So one night, as a relatively new mom, when I had Chiamaka, I had found myself in front of the bathroom mirror in the middle of the night, basically crying my eyes out, stressed, exhausted, feeling all the pressures that anyone who's a parent, I'm sure you felt, trying to find the balance, the right balance, wondering, am I doing this right? Am I going to have to sacrifice something? Do I have to sacrifice my career for my family? Am I going to regret how I'm living? In a weird way, it felt like I was back in that Soho room again, hearing, what choice do people like you have anyway? Isn't this what we all have to go through when we work and have a family to care for? But then I also remember the incredible lesson I learned that day, that regardless of how things feel or how they look, anything's possible. So like before, I decided to figure it out. I dived deep into learning to discover how to help myself and other working parents, carers like me, just break free of this endless struggle we seem to go through. And I went on to develop what I now call my Childproof Your Career AAA success system. Now, this is for the woman who loves her family dearly and she wants the best for them, but she also wants the best for herself. She wants a career, whether that's in business for herself or as an employee, that she loves, in which she does meaningful work that she's passionate about, fantastic at, appreciated, and well rewarded for. So whether you're listening here and you're at the point where you haven't even had a child yet, many women approach me at this point, but you're wondering, how is starting a family going to impact my career? Or maybe you have just one child or another person to care for, and you're already feeling this pull between work and life, wondering, how in the world am I going to balance this? Or maybe you have a larger family, more complex struggles, older kids, so many things to coordinate. Wherever you are on that scale, my AAA career success system will help you. This system has literally helped me break free of that struggle and literally skyrocket my career even further since I had my daughter. I've just put a few pictures from our life to show you here. I've been able to do this without really sacrificing anything that's truly important to me and my family. So in addition to having a business and a career I really adore and I feel incredibly fulfilled in, that has literally helped individuals and companies on 5 continents and counting get extraordinary result. I've had an amazing and passionate relationship with my husband and Nnamdi. That's him in the top left with me, and we were in Dubai during that picture. I've got a wonderful relationship with my kids. Those are their little hands you can see in the bottom left. We decided to let them decide when they want to share their pictures publicly. And we have quality time as a family for each other each and every single week. We create amazing memories at home and abroad. We love travel. We've been to so many countries together now. Last year's big trip was to Dubai and then Bali, and we made that a big reunion with my extended family, mom, dad, all 4 siblings, partners, children. Everybody came along. We created memories for a lifetime. That was such a big dream come true for me. And beyond all the travel and family stuff, for me, quite importantly, I like to give back. I shared with you my story of where I came from, and if it wasn't for the generosity of so many people, I simply wouldn't be here. So I try to do what I can to help others who can't help themselves right now. So over the last few years, my company and I have had the great privilege of raising and donating over $100,000 for people in need around the world. This is such an important part of my purpose and what drives me. In the bottom right, you can see a picture of me in Nicaragua. I went there a little while ago to give homes that we helped build with some wonderful organizations to families in desperate need of them. I also love to have time for me personally to look after myself so I look and feel great. I continue to develop. These are the things that are important to me, and this is what it means for me to thrive professionally and personally. Now, our lives are far from perfect. My husband will tell you that. But I know that from what I've been able to create and help others create, it's possible to end any struggle that you might be in right now and have it all, as some of my clients like to say. I like to call it create work-life harmony. So my company now specializes in helping amazing women just like you all over the world do exactly that, really thrive and reach your potential in both your career and your life, so that you feel energized, fulfilled, like you'll succeed and not failing in both, right? So whatever that means for you personally, and it doesn't have to look anything like mine. In fact, we are committed to helping at least 10,000 women around the world achieve this over the next 10 years. So if you're struggling in any way in your life and career, I'm here to help you starting now to see how you can thrive in both and give you these tools from my AAA success system to start creating it. So hopefully that's of interest. Let me know, let others know if that's of interest to you in the chat. I hope so, because that's the plan for the next 30 minutes or so that we have remaining in the presentation time. I'm going to share with you the 3 key shifts that you need to make to create that success and beautiful harmony that you desire and quite frankly deserve. I know it's possible for you and your precious loved ones. So let's get started. I'm super excited, so I hope you are too. Before we get into the 3 shifts though, I want you to get a sense for yourself where you're starting from. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the worst and 10 being the best, where would you say you are in terms of having both a thriving personal and professional life? And this number is for you, but you can share with others in the chat and with me when I look at it later if you want. And if you're catching this on the replay, I want you to make a note of your number 2, because we're going to come back to this. Hopefully you've established where you are currently. Let's try and shift you as close to a 10 as we can. Before we look at the 3 shifts in my system, I want to talk to you a little bit about your vision. This is a key first step to having both a thriving career and family life, getting clear on what is it you actually want. It all starts with this, because if you don't know what you want to create, you're never going to get there. I noticed in the Sarah Lloyd Hughes, who did the amazing We Connect Academy webinar last month, she also talked about this for her topic, and she was spot on. It's so critical. Vision is so critical for every area of your life. If you have no idea what you want to create, you're going to be caught in reaction and survival mode rather than creation and thriving mode. And trust me, this is no judgment here. I've been there. So we don't want to be struggling to find balance forever. So you want to get crystal clear on your vision before you apply the techniques I'm going to share with you. It will then make so much more sense. And as you come up with your vision, I want you to dream big, go wild. What's your best vision for your life and your career? That was the reason I actually shared my story with you, not because this webinar is about me. No, it's not. It's about you and your result. Because I want you not to limit yourself. I'm no more special than anyone here. So dream big. What's the best possible life? What's the best possible business? What's the best possible career you could create for yourself? That's the level, the kind of one that when you do it, you're like, oh my gosh, this is too good to be true. That's the level I want you to dream at. And once you have it, you can find a safe and encouraging space to share it, where people will agree with you and support you. And if you already know what your vision is, great. If you feel comfortable, feel free to let us know, inspire others in the chat with it. Mine is this. I already shared mine with you a little bit earlier on. Over the next 10 years, my work will positively impact the lives and companies of 10,000 parents around the world as I help them create amazing harmony between their lives and their careers, while I do the same thing with mine. So my team and I are also going to be able to help tens of thousands of people in need around the world. I'm extremely committed to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, including no hunger, no poverty, zero hunger, no poverty, gender equality, things like that. We'll be donating a lot of money and our time to those efforts over the next 10 years. I want to make sure as I'm doing all of this, I want to have time and energy to really thrive, and for my family to thrive, for me personally to thrive. So I look and feel great, create amazing experiences in every area of my life and for my family. So what is yours? Get clear on yours. It doesn't have to be perfect or polished. Mine is always being refined, and you just have to be clear on what it is you want. Okay? So once you have your vision, like I said, I hope it feels too good to be true when you look at it, but it's really not. To get there, all you need to do is uncover the challenges and do a bit of problem solving, which is what my 3 steps will help you with. So to uncover the challenges, to work on, just simply look at your vision and honestly ask yourself, what could hold me back from realizing this vision? So it could be things like, I've got too much workload, there's no one to help me, I'm already feeling overwhelmed, or maybe you don't have enough money for something you'd like to invest in or get, perhaps you don't have enough time, maybe you're feeling guilty about not spending time with your family already. Whatever it is, get clear on the issues, and then you can use what I'm going to be sharing with you next from my system to problem solve. And again, feel free to share with each other in the chat what your main issues are, because I think in doing that, you'll see that you're not alone in what you're going through. In fact, literally millions of women like Huff around the world are struggling with these very same issues. So let's shift gears now to actually how to solve them, because that's the point. I'm going to share with you the tools, tips, techniques from my Childproof Your Career AAA success system. Here are the 3 shifts you need to make that's going to help you have both a thriving career and family life. They're activate your personal board of directors, activate your success schedule, and activate your superpowers. We're going to take them one by one, starting with activating your board of directors. Excuse me. So this first step I'm going to take you through. If you think about a board of directors in a traditional business sense, the key purpose of a board is to ensure the company's well-being and its prosperity by basically collectively directing its affairs while meeting the appropriate interests of shareholders and stakeholders. So in this context of you, your life, your career, your personal board of directors' purpose is to ensure your well-being, your prosperity, by helping you direct your affairs so you navigate and overcome those challenges we talked about and thrive rather than survive in your work and life. Whilst, of course, you meet the appropriate interests of important stakeholders, your children, your partner, if you have one, your boss, your colleagues, your clients, that kind of thing. So I decided to include this in my system because one of the biggest things I noticed in myself and other mums, as I was looking for solutions to these issues, is that whenever we're feeling overwhelmed, whenever we're feeling like, oh my goodness, there's a bit of a struggle going on, and we're feeling like we're failing our families, failing ourselves, failing everything, we think we're alone, and there's a big shame that comes with that. But the truth is, we're not. We're not alone. You're not alone. Not in terms of the millions of other people that are also struggling with the same things, but more importantly, you're not alone. You have people that can help you find solutions that really work for you personally. And I add work for you personally because I found that there is no one-size-fits-all strategy that works for everybody. There just simply isn't. We all have different challenges, we're all built differently, and we need unique solutions to them, to those challenges. So you may be dealing with the guilt of feeling like you don't have enough time to spend with your young children because you have to work, or maybe your partner is not a true partner, so you work really hard at your job or your business only to get home and the real full-time work starts when you open the door. Or maybe you're so busy taking care of everything and everyone that you don't even have time to think about you and what it is you need. Or if you work for a company, this is a classic I see with my clients, maybe it's the fact that you don't even know how to bring up with your boss or your colleagues that you need a bit more flexibility due to your family. Or maybe one I can relate to recently, I can relate to this one. Those days that you're super busy with work, that's the day that your child decides that he or she is going to do the exact opposite of everything you want, everything you ask, and basically go to work themselves on your very last nerve. I mean, maybe I'm the only one that can relate to that. Hopefully it isn't just me. But whatever the situation is for you, activating the right personal board of directors will be a game changer for you. Your board should basically include everybody that has a positive influence on your situation and helps you overcome your unique challenges and get closer to your vision. So for example, on your board, you could have your boss, other women business owners, if you're in business, your friends, your partner, your husband, partner, if you a coach, mentors, sponsors. The list could literally go on and on, anyone who can help you. Another key point is that your personal board of directors should exclude some people, anyone basically whose influence has the opposite effect. And I include this because if you don't deliberately activate your board of directors, you very likely built one by default, which could be helping you create the exact opposite of what you want in your vision for your life and career. I'll give you an example with the case of one of my clients based here in Europe. So she was struggling with a lot of the issues I've been mentioning. And when I introduced her to this concept of the personal board of directors, and basically told her that she'd have to basically fire negative board members that she'd appointed by default. She took a look at it and she realized, oh my goodness, there's two major board members in my life that negatively impacted me. They were number one, her sister, who was basically struggling herself with everything, balance her career, her family, her kids. It was just a disaster, unfortunately, for her sister. And her sister basically kept telling my client, oh, you wait and see, you're gonna have exactly these same problems. So guess what? My client worried about it and she had exactly these same problems. She created literally these problems herself when she was doing fine before she listened to her sister. The other board member that she had is an interesting one, the other negative one. It was social media. So she would kind of scroll through everybody's perfect highlights on social media and compare her life, which she felt was just terrible, to everybody's perfect highlight reel, and then just feel so terrible about her own challenges. When I helped her see that, listen, these are just negative board members you've got here, and empower her to help to basically fire them, it was so, so powerful. Now, we all have these influences in our lives. They're going to be different for everybody, that are totally against what we actually want. We unconsciously let them be there and make our situations worse. So to create what you actually want, you need to reduce these influences in your life. And this can be tough, especially when there's family involved, like the example I just gave. It could be clients, managers. It can be really tough to actually, in quotes, fire these board members. But it's worth building the people skills and the communication skills to do this effectively and assertively in a way that these people will actually respect your choices. And it's things like this I basically help my clients with. And it's also important to do this because these people and situations, they're typically energy drains that basically stop you from creating, the supportive board that you actually need. And speaking of that supportive board, the key is getting on board anybody you can ask for help and get it. You don't have to struggle on your own. It truly takes a village to make this work and achieve work-life harmony. So for me personally, I hired a parenting coach to help me improve my relationship with my daughter, so I don't end up snapping at her or snapping at her a bit too much for my liking. So when I was in a busy season at work, I'd snap at her and feel bad afterwards. And since working with my coach, it's been incredible to have an expert's insight in this area. We have so much more of an amazing relationship and incredible results as a result of this. So women like us, we spend so much time caring for other people, making sure everybody's okay. The fact is we can't pour from an empty cup forever. So we need to be filled up ourselves. Let other people help you. I tried to do everything and be everything myself a few years back. And I basically ended up in hospital, burnt out with stress. And I really don't want that for you. You don't want that for you. Your loved ones definitely don't want that for you. So please activate your personal board of directors to support you in your life and career. It's going to be a game changer. All right, let's move on. Next step I want you to consider taking is to activate your success schedule. You see, living by success schedule is so fundamental to this whole proof of child-proof in your career so that you can thrive in both. As you know, when you child-proof anything, whether that's your house or whatever, it's to protect the child and it's to protect the house. Your family and your career also need protection because it feels sometimes like both need an impossible amount of time from you to thrive. This is where this activating your success schedule comes in, to make the impossible possible and help you create this dream, this vision you have. We all know there's so much to do in business, at work, at home, everywhere. And sadly, many of us have spent our days feeling so busy, so overwhelmed, not really progressing, not anywhere near anything that feels like balance, never mind even thinking about creating something we love. We're just trying to survive. So year after year, we're making New Year's resolutions to change. Year after year, nothing happens. Even by the time we roll around to February, we're about where we're in now, we may have forgotten those resolutions and be back to this busy track trying to survive. But here's what I discovered as I was doing my research to help myself and other women overcome this. One thing that differentiates the women that manage to actually break free from that busy cycle to create amazing success from everybody else is how they use the 24 hours we all have. Now, I'm not planning on dishing out the usual typical advice I've heard over and over again myself at conferences to working moms of, oh, it boils down to you've got to work really hard, get great childcare, and be super well organized. That's all well and good, and it really is well and good, but it might not lead to true success for you personally. It didn't for me, which is what any schedule worth your time should be leading you to. To me, true success is living out your purpose while you're here on this earth. your very best life, both professionally and personally, not somebody else's idea of what you should be doing, and definitely not striving and not surviving, but truly living in a way that makes you say yes with excitement when you wake up, because you're excited about the work you're going to do that day. And you know that there's enough time for the people and the things that you love to do as well. There's no one size fits all strategy for this, and there's not one thing that's going to work for everybody. There just really isn't. But if you do activate your success schedule, as I'm going to guide you to, it's personalized to you and it's going to work for you and your career so that you create something you love. So let's begin. There are 3 steps you need to consider as you activate your success schedule. They're at the bottom of the slide now. Map out the journey, identify and take the first steps based on your modus operandi. I'm going to explain all this. Eliminate time thieves. Excuse me. So map out the journey. It's like any journey, right? You want to know where you're starting from and where you're going to get the directions. And we've already talked about your vision, what it is you want to create, you know where you're going. So the first step is really, where are you starting from? Make an honest assessment of where you are currently, because this is going to help you get to the next step, that first part of the bullet that says identify the first few steps to take towards your vision. Oftentimes we want to see the whole staircase before we take the first step. Maybe it's just me, but I want to know how it's all going to work out. This is almost never possible to do, by the way, if you dreamt big enough. However, the first step or the first few steps are always visible, and it's important to identify them and take them to keep progressing towards your vision. So you heard my story. My life was a mess. I was dreaming for more. I knew I was meant for more, but I had no clue how it was going to work out. But the very next step was clear, and it always is for all of us. So to succeed, you just need to decide, I'm going to take those first steps, and then as you take them, the staircase will continue to appear as you climb to your vision. So once you've identified the first few steps, you activate your success schedule by literally shifting from just spending time to investing time. You want to deliberately calendar each and every week, taking those steps that you've identified are going to lead you towards your goal. This is all basic. We've all heard this before. What might be new to you is what I've put here about doing this based on your modus operandi. This is because we're all wired differently. Have you ever noticed that there's some things that you do that just give you so much energy, but then there's other things that you do that just, oh my gosh, it's just such a drain? Or maybe you've noticed that you know what to do sometimes, but you just don't feel like doing it. In those situations, it's very likely that you're working against the way you're built cognitively, the way you naturally operate, your modus operandi, your MO. So discovering and setting up your calendar in a way that is supportive of your natural MO, the way you naturally do things and best operate naturally, is one of the most powerful things you can do. People who succeed at thriving in both career and life, they know what this looks like. They don't live on default in reaction mode. They deliberately schedule things, invest time 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to move them forward and get the results they want in their vision. And I don't mean just by working, by the way. I'm not encouraging workaholism. I have a family I love and I spend plenty of time with. This could mean investing in getting 8 hours of sleep a night so that you can look and feel good. So whatever it is in your vision, investing in that. And you may be thinking at this point, Maxine, I don't even have a few spare minutes to myself. How in the world am I going to get 8 hours to sleep? And to do all of those things I want to do, the truth is, though, we all have that same amount of time. I've thought that question myself, and as I've been doing this work over the years, I see that it's possible. If you're not already creating the results you want, you need to identify point number 3 here, the time thieves, and eliminate them. And by this, I mean, look at your vision. Whatever it is that you're doing in your day that doesn't lead you closer to that vision is a potential time thief. We all have them, and I still discover them, even though I've been doing this over and over again. So working on eliminating these consistently with me and my clients has got us closer to creating and living out our visions. And my vision drives how I use my time. It's all in my calendar. I literally joke with people, if it's not in my calendar, it doesn't exist. So my clients and I have found that by the time we have calendared in everything that we need to do each week to move forward, there's very little space left. So when we're tempted to spend too much time on social media or any of these time thieves, those are my time thieves, the social media, given that I've taken the time to create my vision, set my intentions, activate my success schedule, it's less tempting to waste that time on something that makes no sense for my vision than what I've actually calendared in. That's way less tempting. And also, if you're a people pleaser like I used to be, who when people ask you things, You say yes when you want to say no, then you feel angry later. When you live in this way, it's powerful because when people ask you to do things, you generally have no availability to do it. So you can be in your power and just say, oh, I'm really sorry, love to help you, but the only time is like Thursday next week. So you're able to kind of manage the inflow of work and your schedule. Hopefully this is making sense. You're getting loads of takeaways for you. Now, the next step is activating your superpowers. This is the final step to really thrive in both work and life. And by superpowers, I don't mean this whole superwoman vibe some people celebrate of being able to do and be everything to everyone. I don't believe in that. That ended me up in hospital with stress. I don't recommend it, which is why I talked about board of directors first. What I mean is activating your superpowers in a different way. What makes you powerful? I call it your USP. U is for unlimited power, S for soul power, P for personal power. When you activate all of these, you are going to be literally unstoppable. Let's start with unlimited power. I think of this sort of like a miraculous power that you activate by what you believe in your mind. So ancient wisdom says, as a woman or man thinks, so she or he is. I'm going to repeat that. As a man or woman thinks, so he or she is. And this works for both positive and negative thoughts. So to activate your unlimited power, especially in relation to this whole work-life balance discussion and child-proofing your career, you need to uncover what is it I really believe and ensure that those thoughts line up with what it is you say you want to create in your vision. I'll give you an example. So if you say you want to make more money in your career or in your business, and you also want to have more time for your kids, your family, but you have this underlying belief that you have to work long and hard to make money, you're never going to be successful at reaching that goal. You end up burnt out or feeling guilty every day. Hopefully you see what I mean. Or I'll give you another example. Let's say you want an amazing new opportunity for your work or business, but you have the underlying belief that you're not good enough to go get it. The belief's going to win and it's going to stop you. You're going to sabotage it somehow. So it's really important to uncover and transform these beliefs that are going against what it is you say you want to create. And I'm not saying that there's not some very real facts and pressures and things that come against us, especially as women. For those who work in a company, there's outdated workplace structures, unconscious biases that work against us. If you focus on these things, though, and all of these problems, that's all you're going to keep getting. Remember my story I shared with you in the beginning. When I was in that room, with literally feeling like, oh my gosh, my only choice is to literally become a prostitute to have a chance of making money in life. Those were real pressures and circumstances I had brought on myself. It was totally my own fault. But if I'd focused on all of those things and believed I had no other options, quite frankly, I'd probably be dead by right now. I'd be dead. There's no doubt about it. Whatever your circumstances are, whether you brought them on yourself or not, you have the power in any moment to decide that you're going to create something different and align your beliefs and thoughts to that consistently. That's what I did with one of my US-based clients. She was working in the business basically that was not really interesting to her, but she had so much experience in it. She kept getting more and more work that just took her away from her family, made her miserable. Her passion was to help in HR, diversity and inclusion, but she thought, oh, because I have no formal experience in it, she believed that she wouldn't get any business in that area. But when we worked on transforming that, she ended up landing a multiple six-figure contract for HR, doing the work of her dreams. And the best part, working less, so she sees her family more. This is super powerful, ladies. That's unlimited power. Quickly moving on, so there's going to be time for questions on anything you have. Soul power. By this, I mean that knowing within you deep down of what's best for you. You can activate this power by checking in and following your intuition. This is perfect for those situations where there's two or more things demanding your time. Maybe the client presentation that clashes with your child's play. Normal scenario might be just to worry about it, cry about it, feel guilty, then not be good at either place. But the good thing about this, even when you're confused as to what to do in your mind, your soul knows. So check in. I'll give you an example with myself real quickly about how this worked out. I had my son in July last year, and when he was a few weeks old, an opportunity came up for me to speak in Athens, Athens Leadership Conference. My rational mind was like, what in the world are you thinking? Are you nuts? You have a newborn, you nearly died giving birth to him, because I'd lost 3 liters of blood due to all kinds of complications. But my rational mind also said, you've got a 4-year-old who just started school. This makes no sense. but my intuition knew I had to be there. Long story short, I was able to take the trip with my son. He can say his first ever international trip was to a women's empowerment conference. He had an awesome time with the people that came with me. For me, it was powerful. It helped me avoid postpartum depression that I was tempted to fall into because of the difficult delivery I had. I had a powerful time speaking and coaching with so many women there, changed their lives, hopefully. And I met an incredible woman by the name of Giselle Rufa Dillons, who introduced me to We Connect. And I attended their conference, got certified, and as a result, I had this amazing opportunity to be talking to you today. There's no way my mind could have known any of this when the opportunity came up, but my soul knew and it informed me. Your soul also knows your own journey, and it knows things that are nowhere near the radar of your logical mind. This is why you should check in. And which is why I help the ladies in my programs hone their intuition and regularly tap into it to get their soul power. Finally, personal power. By this, I mean, what is it you're best in the world at? It's important that you know this and activate it so that you can work smarter, not harder. I'll give you an example. One of my clients had a baby. She wanted more flexibility so she could spend time with her child and be there for health appointments, all of that stuff that happened. We helped her activate her personal power by focusing on what she's brilliant at and helping her hone those skills. She was able to reduce her time at work 4 days a week and deliver more in that time. So she got a raise and a promotion, working 20% less. Another client, same thing, enabled her to save her company millions and millions of dollars. So they are literally compensating her in a beautiful way as a result of this, activating her personal power. Incredible results like this are inevitable for you once you activate that personal power that we all have. These ladies I shared about just now, they work for their employees, but if you're in business, I've been doing this myself in business, it works too. And to discover this, discover what are you naturally great at. And this might be things you even take for granted because you're so good at it. I'm a witness many times over with many clients that the results will literally blow your mind. So coming to a close, I want you to think back to that rating you gave yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. And based on what I've shared, hopefully you can see how you can move yourself in the right direction to the right of the slide using some of these strategies. This is what I help ladies do, as well as implement and activate all of these steps we've been talking about, should they choose to invest in going deeper in this work with me and my team. So I'm going to open it up for questions in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to use this opportunity to really extend an invitation to you if you're interested in going deeper in this work and getting some amazing results for yourself, for your business, your career, and your life in this new decade. So come along if this is you and join us in the next group that I'm going to be taking through this Childproof Your Career Success System. We kick off on the 29th of February. This date only comes around once every 4 years, so I wanted to mark it. If you join us, I'll help you get crystal clear on your very best and most exciting vision for your career and your life, whether that's in business or as an employee and in your family life. And then I'm going to provide you with highly customized support and coaching to help you create it using the 3 shifts we've been talking about. I know how busy things are, so I've designed this to help you get amazing results in just 30 minutes a week. So you'll also not only have my support in that way, but you'll have an amazing community of other women going through the program with you. So the investment for this program is on the screen. It's normally just under £2,500, but as a thank you for attending, for the first 10 ladies, you can get £1,000 off, as well as an assessment to help you understand your modus operandi, how you naturally operate, as I talked about earlier. So you are much more likely to reach your goals. So if you want to take advantage of this offer or you have any questions about it, simply email me at my email address. It's on the screen, maxine@thefuturesgreater.com. Request more information and my team and I will be in touch. If a group format is not what you're after, if you're interested in one-on-one coaching or the work we do with companies, we use this 3-part framework and other proprietary strategies and tools to help companies develop, advance, and retain top female talent to drive results. We know diversity drives results. We help companies achieve that. So we create customized services as appropriate to achieve desired results. So please feel free to contact me at the same email address to start the conversation. I look forward to connecting with those who decide to work with us. So I'll leave the invitation information on the right of the slide in case you're still jotting the details down. But right now I want to welcome any questions on anything I've shared today. We covered a lot. So Andrea, could you please help me with the questions so I can take those?
Yes, thank you so much, Maxine, for that amazing webinar. I think a lot of people felt really related to a lot of the things that you were saying, and I do have a few questions here. So I
Excellent.
have a question from Ana Maria. Members of board of directors could be mentors, and if so, do you suggest pay them for that?
No, so I have board of members, people on my personal board of directors who are both paid and free. So I have many mentors who are free. So this could be, I don't know, Anna Marie, if you're in a business or if you work for yourself. When I worked in a company, I had many mentors who were free within the organization who just helped me as I was growing as a leader within my career. But I've also invested heavily in support for myself as well. So it's a real combination of both. Still to this day, it's a combination of both for me. So it's up to you. It's basically anybody who can help you overcome the challenges to reach your vision. My husband's on my board of directors. He's a true partner, like my number one hero that enables me to do what I do. I don't pay him, at least not in money.
Okay, and can your spouse, talking about husbands, can your spouse be in your personal board even if he's toxic, negative, and doesn't value you or your efforts? Would you suggest?
Yeah. Yes, this is such a good question, and my heart goes out to whoever asks this because I know I've seen this come up many, many times in with clients, and it never got to the point where it was toxic with me and my husband, but there was times when I felt like he did not support what I was doing. So in answer to your question, it's not one that we can kind of tackle, unfortunately, in the couple of minutes that we have for questions here. So feel free to reach out to me on email if you want to discuss further, whoever asked this. I don't advise that you have somebody toxic, whether it's your partner or anybody, influencing and directing your affairs towards your vision. That's the whole point of the board of directors, right? So if you have that situation, you need to address it. And now one way that you could address it, if it's somebody like a partner, is get the help of somebody. Maybe it's a relationship counselor, or in my case, when I felt like my husband wasn't that supportive, I spoke to my coach and I worked through my coach on this to the point where like my husband is one of my biggest supporters now. So I don't recommend that person being toxic and influencing you constantly. I recommend you do address it by maybe bringing on another positive board member that can help you with it. In my case, my coach did. Does that help? Hopefully. Let me know if you still have questions or email me. We can chat more. Are there any other
Awesome.
questions?
Thank you. Yes. And I would just like to remind everybody that we have the last 5 to 8 minutes to ask questions. So please take this opportunity and type them down in the Q&A boxes. This webinar has been recorded. So if you join later or if you have to drop out, you can always go back to the recording. It will be sent out tomorrow on a follow-up email. And please don't hesitate to connect with Maxine afterwards. We have another question from Chloe. My question is, what if your MO doesn't fit in with your family needs? So if your natural way of working is through the night and getting up late and you have kids, you need to get them to school, how do you manage that?
Yeah, no, it's such a good question, Chloe. Because guess what? We all have our MOs, and everybody else has their MOs, and like navigating all of this to create harmony can feel like herding cats. That's that's a saying we have in the UK. It's just chaos, basically. And it's something that you don't just leave to chance. You have to deliberately design it. So it's all problem solving. It's a case of like, okay, so you decided your MO is to kind of work in the middle of the night or whatever. So how are you going to problem solve the fact that your kids need to get to school? It's simple problem solving. As of, okay, could somebody else drop them to school? Could your partner drop them to school? There's 1,000,001 different things that you could do. Just getting clear on what is the goal that we're trying to achieve. So hopefully your vision, Chloe, is amazing. It gets you excited. And you also have the vision for your kids being educated. How are we going to solve this problem with all the resources that we have to allow your kids' vision to be realized, as well as your personal vision to be realized in the way you naturally operate? There's always a solution. I guarantee you, regardless of how impossible things look, when you're kind of expansive and open to receive solutions, you'll get them, whether it's from your board of directors or some other way. But the key is being open, because I know sometimes it can just feel like, oh my God, like it's just, I'm in the corner, there's no way to figure this out. But think about it. I'm not sure if you were here for the beginning of the story. I was stood in front of somebody with no money telling me I'm going to have to make the worst decision of my life as the only way I'll be able to eat. That looked like there was no other way forward. But guess what? When you want it bad enough and you demand for the solution, it's available. Women like us are powerful enough to create whatever it is we want. You are, Chloe. So hopefully that helps you. Feel free to reach out to me if that you still have questions on it, but hopefully that gives you something to go on.
Thank you. We have another question from Beryl. What if you feel you have got to the end of your career and don't have the finances to rebrand yourself? What do you do?
So what if you've got to the end of your
career?
And you don't have the resources to rebrand yourself?
Do you want me to repeat it? What if you feel you have got to the end of your career and don't have the finances to rebrand yourself? What do you do in those situations?
Okay, I may need a bit more information to make sure I understand this, because I'm not making the connection within getting to the end of the career and needing to rebrand. Because rebranding might suggest to me that there's more career to happen. But I just would say the same thing to the lovely lady asking that there is always a way. There's a million and one ways to make money for what you're trying to do. Find them. Literally, if you're looking for a solution, it's available. What I've come to realize in years of doing this work and in my own life as a woman who has kind of come a long way and still intending to do things that actually scare me when I think about it with my logical mind, there is always a way when you want something bad enough. Women like us, we find the time and the money for what it is we want. That's just fact. Think about it. When was the last time you really, really wanted something? And chances are you found a way to get it. So if you come to the end of your career and you're looking to rebrand for something else, if you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. So hopefully that helps you.
Thank you. We have another question from Aqua Ado. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, Aqua. Maxine, what do you do when you see that what you are very good at doesn't really make you very happy inside? Ooh. That's very common, I guess. 90% of the people. Go ahead, Maxine.
Yeah, I actually saw that. Like literally, I think 85-90% of people are good at stuff. They keep getting more of it and not enjoying it. And the key thing is to find out what it is that you would enjoy. I'll give you an example. So, let's say I'm really, really good at organizing something. So I talked about, the trip I took with my family, to Dubai and Bali last year. There was 15 people, and we were literally traveling, from so many different countries, so many different locations, so much to coordinate. And it was just quite an epic project just to get everybody on a holiday. But I loved it. But there was a time when those same organizational skills that I was using was to organize things I wasn't that interested in. So it was like, okay, I'm organizing yet another boring project. And, it's a case of what would get you excited. So for me, gathering people to help them see their biggest dreams come true literally sets my soul on fire. So a lot of the times you might feel like you're using your skills on things that, oh my God, it doesn't really make me happy. But there's a way of applying those same skills to actually what it is that would make you happy. Hopefully this is making sense for you, Ikwe. So it's a case of if anything was possible, what would I do? What would be my wildest dream? And then just seeing is there any way I can apply those things I'm the best in the world at, is how I like to summarize it. Is there any way those best in the world at skills can be applied to these things that are going to set my soul on fire? Another thing is that these houses we're building for the poor around the world and things like that, those organization skills, those fundraising skills, I'm applying it there, and it just gives me so much more fulfillment. But there was a time when it looked like, oh my gosh, this is just so boring to be good at this. So it's just a case of maybe shifting the context to something that you're truly passionate about, that sets your soul on fire. And this is what you can discover if you give yourself the time, the support, the guidance to do that.
Awesome.
Hope that helps.
Thank you so much. I believe it was all the information that you have provided has been pretty helpful for everyone, including myself. So thank you so much, Maxine, for that. You got a lot of great comments here. Thank you. Thank you for an amazing webinar. Yeah, I'm sure that everybody's pretty grateful.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear it. Listen, I want to just say thank you all for spending this time with me. I want to leave you with a bit of story. Andrea, you've been amazing as well, helping me coordinate everything. Thank you, everybody. And thank you for that, Andrea and WeConnect Academy. So looking forward to connecting with those that want to. Let me leave you ladies with this. So I always tell this story, but I think it hits home. So a little while ago, I noticed, after 2 kids, after having a daughter, like my clothes were kind of getting a bit tight, right? And I decided I'm going to start working out. I'm going to start exercising. After about 18 months of not doing anything, I was like raring, ready to go. And I wanted to be this super overachiever. So I decided to use this workout program. And anybody in the US may have heard of it. Maybe if you're not in the US, you might not have heard of it. It's called Insanity. And it's called that with good reason, because it's just intense and it's really not for the faint-hearted. So I put this in my little success schedule because I was going to work out and just be like J-Lo's body and everything. And I started doing this in my success schedule. The only time I could do this was 5:30 in the morning because my MO wasn't going to work for my family. I thought I'm going to keep the noise down because you need to jump around during Insanity. I don't want to wake anybody up. So that's what I decided to do. Well, I was totally unsuccessful at waking the family up because the first day I did it, literally, my husband and daughter came running out of their rooms thinking, oh my God, what's going on? Is there like an earthquake happening? My daughter was like 3 at the time and she was so terrified. But then after a while, she was like mesmerized at this whole thing. She'd never seen anything like this. Oh my gosh, like look at mommy, she's jumping up and down and she's watching people on the TV who are jumping up and down. This is like the best fun ever. So she decides she's going to join me every day. So I remember one morning we were working out, jumping up and down, copying the super fit people on the screen. And like 1 minute in, I was just so exhausted because I was so unfit at the time. I stopped to catch my breath. So my daughter, who still had plenty of energy, when she saw me stop, she stopped. So I started again, and then she started again. 30 seconds later, I stopped thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna faint, I'm gonna die. She stopped, and this kept on happening. I had stopped, she'd stop, I'd start, she'd start, on and on and on and on. So I said to her, darling, why do you keep stopping? You can exercise, just copy the people on the screen, just keep going. And she said, Mummy, you've stopped, so I will too. And in that moment, I realized something so profound. You have the power to set the tone of how much action your loved ones that you have all these big hopes for take to important goals in life. You want the best life for your children, you want to encourage them. You do that best by creating and living your best life. Your loved ones are watching and relying on you for guidance. Your loved ones are watching and relying on you for inspiration. They are watching and relying on you to take action. So please, whatever you do, take action. Your loved ones are watching and relying on you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maxine. That's awesome wisdom. Thank you so much for all the information, for all your tips and advice. I hope everybody enjoyed this webinar. It was amazing. Thank you so much for your time. I would like to remind everybody that this recording is going to be available tomorrow. Thank you so much, Maxine, for your time.
So welcome. It was so fun. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day, night. I don't know, everybody's joining from everywhere. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.